meadows and streams to filter through this land of ours and fill a sportsman's dreams. Enjoy what nature holds for us, her bounty never ends. Getting back to basics with the practical sportsman. It's always an adventure, no matter where we go. From a favorite hunting spot to the hottest fishing pole. Outdoor life we all can share with family and friends. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman.
Hi there, come on in. It is Thursday night, June 12th, the year 2003, and it's time for a half hour of news and information in the great outdoors. Now, I did have a DNR trial last week on a ticket that a guy got on a duck hunting trip. I got the details coming up. It was an interesting case. Zachary, what do you have coming up?
A lot of headlines and stories from the Michigan Outdoor News. The spectrum of speculation has expanded from mountain lions to lynx. We have the latest on the new world record archery deer from the Pope and Young Convention in Wisconsin. Great Lakes water levels are not what they were last year. And I have some footage of Puppy Saturday. Over 30 litters of puppies were there. What a day.
And at the end of this show, I will list the shooters who beat me in sporting clays tournaments the last 2 weekends. But hey, it really isn't going to take that long. I've been shooting better. So stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost.
And I'm Zachary Trost with a half hour of news and information for the practical sportsman. The Michigan Wildlife Conservancy is the group that has stirred the pot regarding the existence of cougars in Michigan, and now they've added another animal to the controversy. In an article by Tom Carney, Conservancy Director Dennis Fidzikowski is quoted as saying, "We've encountered lynx in Michigan during our study of cougars. We crossed a lynx track 2 or 3 times. We have mounts of both of these critters here at the museum. A large cougar that the federal endangered species listing says is extinct in the wild in Michigan. The smaller lynx, which looks a lot like a bobcat except its ears have long tufts and its feet are huge, is threatened in 14 states according to the feds, but still known to occur in all of them. The position of the Michigan DNR is that any cougar seen in Michigan is an escaped or released pet. Regarding the lynx, DNR Press Secretary Brad Werfel says, lynx historically are periodically individually present in Michigan. During years of population explosion, they have a documented history of overflowing from their native Canada into the UP and northern Wisconsin in search of territory and prey base. They've been documented over the years, but it's always as individuals that eventually migrate back north after exhausting the prey base or die off." Werfel added, "The lynx question is just a variation of the cougar question. Are there lynx running around in Michigan? There certainly could be a couple. Are they a viable population, a resident species like a bobcat? Nope. Are they a long-term wildlife management issue for the DNR? No. So much for the Canadian lynx in Michigan." In a couple of related articles beyond Michigan, a 30-year-old hiker at Big Bend National Park in Texas was attacked and clawed by a mountain lion. The hiker tried shouting and other defensive measures to scare the lion off. After it attacked the hiker, he beat it off with a rock and walked to safety, later treated for bite wounds. In Phoenix, Arizona, in 2 different incidents, campers at the Lower Verde River and Mesquite campgrounds reported their dogs were being carried off by mountain lions. Both times the campers pelted the mountain lions with rocks and the dogs were let go, both of which are expected to survive. Correspondent Kurt Wells reports the Pope and Young Convention in Middleton, Wisconsin came up dry for a new archery world record. A big buck taken by Wayne Zaft in Alberta, Canada, was brought in for official scoring. A preliminary panel scored it in at 206 7/8, but the official panel said some of the points were non-typical and had to be deducted rather than added. So this buck came up with a paltry 172 5/8, which qualified for the record book, but is far from a world record. Being a true sportsman, Wayne Zaff said he wouldn't enter the buck in the record book, tucked it under his arm, and stomped out of the convention. Ah, the joys of trophy hunting. And finally, the DNR says that hunters will have fewer resident Canada geese to hunt this fall because there are significantly fewer Canada geese in Michigan than there used to be. These numbers might not match with your observations, though, because the numbers have been trimmed, particularly in the urban areas where hunting opportunities are limited. In the 1990s, anti-goose efforts were undertaken, such as destroying nests and kidnapping eggs. On Belle Isle, for example, in the past 5 years, 17,000 eggs and 3,400 nests have been destroyed. In the 1950s, the giant Canada goose was considered extinct. Some remnant populations were found in Minnesota in 1962. Restoration efforts were undertaken, and now there are so many of these big geese that they become a nuisance and even a health problem on golf courses, around docks, and in small lakes. Even though the population has dropped from 325,000 in the year 2000 to an estimated 235,000 this year, the drop in goose numbers is mainly in the urban areas. Hunters may find as many geese this year as they did last.
I tell you, you're not going to see many bluegill this big in your life. I can't believe that that's only 12 inches.
Yep.
They didn't measure that right, I don't think.
Yes, they did.
They did? Well, your name is Tess McCallum. You're from Saginaw, and you got this fishing the 25th of May, like Memorial Day weekend?
Mm-hmm.
And who were you fishing with?
My dad.
And is that a pretty good time fishing with your dad?
Yes.
How come?
I don't know.
I mean, does he bait your hook for you?
Sometimes.
Oh, you do it yourself?
Sometimes.
Okay, now hold it.
I got the third biggest one, catch and release, and that was the biggest one, catch and keep.
And what did you get?
I didn't get. I netted it.
Well, Dad, you're raising a great little fisherwoman there.
Yep.
I see. Now, what is it about fishing that you enjoy?
Catching the fish.
But do they have to be this big?
Yes.
You're getting off on a strange start here, you know that? For fishing. Island Lake, Oscoda County, Tess McCallum, a bluegill that's a foot long. Way to go, Tess. That's awesome. A lot of fishermen are eating their hearts out on that. Congratulations. Recently, I had a jury trial for a hunter who was accused of taking one too many hen mallards during the January duck season. Now, the CO had an early morning hotline complaint from the RAP hotline that a hunting party was over harvesting hen mallards. So the CO hid along the marsh, watched the hunters for 2.5 hours, saw absolutely nothing wrong, and when they left at noon, she thoroughly searched their boat and them, found everything was totally legal. Then 2 hours later, the CO goes back into the marsh, finds a dead hen mallard that had been laying there who knows how long, and 2 days later gave my client a ticket for one hen mallard over his limit. Well, there was absolutely no evidence of any kind that linked that duck with my client or any other hunter for that matter. The jury quickly said not guilty. But the question is, why is the DNR writing so many bad tickets? Well, did you hear what's happening in New York? City residents are complaining that cops are issuing frivolous citations to offset the budget deficit. A guy who sat on a milk crate outside of a Bronx hair salon where he works was fined $105 for, get this, unauthorized use of a milk crate. A guy who had a black plastic license plate frame on his parked car came and found a $55 ticket for improper display. An Israeli tourist was fined $50 for taking up 2 seats on a subway train, but nobody else was on that subway car. Now, is our DNR writing ridiculous tickets to generate money from sportsmen who tend to pay the fines rather than hire a lawyer and go to court? Kind of looks that way to me.
This week's county is pretty easy because it was named for the American general, Mad Anthony Wayne, who in the 1790s led American soldiers to victory over Native American tribes and British troops at the Battle of Fallen Timbers. At its founding, the county's borders stretched across almost all of lower Michigan, as well as northern Indiana, the eastern edge of Illinois, which includes present-day Chicago, along with a small part of Wisconsin. As these areas were settled, the county was cut down to its present size of 622 square miles. In 1899, the first commercial automobile factory in the world was opened in Detroit, and each of the big three American car companies were born in Wayne County: General Motors in Detroit, Ford Motor Company in Dearborn, and Chrysler Corporation in Highland Park. Detroit is the Midwest's oldest large city and was one of the final stops on the Underground Railroad and also birthplace of Motown music. It's also one of the world's largest inland ports. Situated along Lake St. Clair and the Detroit River in southeast Michigan, we show you Wayne County's Fish and Game Hall of Fame. The next featured county for the Fish and Game Hall of Fame will be Crawford County.
The last 2 weekends, I participated in sporting clay shoots up at Orchard Hill and Bark River up in the Upper Peninsula. Now, I'm not a crack shot by any means, and I really don't take competitions as seriously probably as I should, because I just like to shoot. But one of the reasons I do like to shoot is that at times I can do pretty well. As an incentive for the serious shooters, though, I tell them that if they beat me, I'll put their names on this show. 2 weekends ago was the Practical Sportsman 200. That was a 2-day event with 100 targets each day. 33 shooters signed up. My score was 11th from the bottom. 22 shooters beat me on day one. Now, there's their moment of glory you're looking at right now, the shooters who beat me on the first day. They didn't stay on their high horses very long, though. On the second day, only 10 shooters shot better than they did the first day, and 23 shooters shot worse. Well, I was one of those who shot better. In fact, my score of 81 was 10 birds better than the day before, and that was the biggest improvement of all of the shooters in the tournament. So of the other 32 shooters, only 4 beat me on the second day. Tom Mack, Mike Mix, Darren Holman, and Kurt Butterworth. Now, averaging both days, I didn't come out bad. From 23rd the first day to 9th overall, only 8 shooters topped my score for the 2 days, and here they are. Congratulations to everybody who shot, because with the Lewis class scoring, many shooters with low scores won big prizes. Now, this past Saturday was the annual Bays Danach Gobblers Shoot, a Turkey Federation chapter up there, and that was at Orchard Hill too. 3 years ago, I won that shoot with a score of 89 using my double barrel. Well, I took the double off the shelf for old time's sake. I haven't shot with it for a while. I didn't do badly there either, considering my score of 76 was 10th out of a field of 39 shooters. And as promised, here are the shooters who whooped me. This is their moment of glory, which they can enjoy while it lasts. The 29 shooters who were below me, hey, I hope they do better next time. I mean, really, I do. This type of competition I do kind of enjoy. And while I was shooting at Orchard Hill on Saturday, a ton of people were at our museum in Bath. Let's hope we have a warm and sunny weekend. Hey, we are due for one. Zachary and I hope you take a kid fishing or camping and get outdoors, because it's a great place to be. See you next week.